What's good, YouTube? What's good? We're back talking drag racing again. This time I ain't eating. um, well, let's see here. Let's see. Where I'm going to start at. Because I'm shooting off the head. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing written down. And I'm just giving it to you how I feel fit. All right, let's talk about drag racing. A lot of people is building big board kits. There's a lot of different combination with your cams and everything. Granted, they fine and dandy. Now, let's think. Once you start getting this torque and this horsepower, how can you put it down to the ground and make it go from point A to point B fast as possible? And now, across the world, everybody got good torque and good horsepower with these big boy kids. Doesn't matter, right? Okay. Now, then you got to go into, your chain versus belt. Okay. Belt gives a little bit. Chain don't give. Anyway it gonna helps you get from point A to point B. Now, you gotta go to the next. What's next? And that's your tire and your tire and your shocks. Your tires and your shocks. You gotta have good tires and you gotta have damn good shocks. You know what I'm saying? You gotta figure out your for your shocks, the sag, your weight while you're sitting on the back and on the bike and everything. Now your tires, you're gonna have to get them nice and high. You can't race while they cold. I don't care what kind of tires you get. Learn how to do a burnout. Learn how to get your tires nice and hot. If you don't do a burnout, do a couple of dry hops. So you can get the tires pretty decent in temperature. Now, during the summer months, that's easy to do. Winter months, yes, you're going to have to do more. Now, let's move into, now from your engine build, your chain, or your belt. I'd rather have a belt, but them will break on you in certain ranges of horsepower, ranges of torque, not your horsepower, your torque. Because your torque gets you out of the hole, you know what I'm saying? And your tires and your shock. So your shocks basically is your suspension when they talk to you about that shit. Once you squat, once you lead down that mother squat and go straight, oh, you got you something. Spinning ain't winning. Willing ain't winning. You gotta be a damn good rider to spin and still get a win, or do a wheelie and still get a win. Only way that's gonna happen if you run the quarter mile. Trust me, because your horsepower will kick in and take over. 8th mile, that's hard to do. I don't give a fuck. Because it's basically 4 gears. You can't run 3 on some setups. Now, that's another thing you got to make sure you know in your setup is very important. Your setup is very important for your 8th mile drag racing or your quarter mile. You set your gearing up. You got to. You got to. Now, and this right here. If you can't let that motherfucker go, something wrong. You got a lot of practice to do. You got a lot of practicing you got to do. If you can't hold that motherfucker, then you can't throw it out there too fast. Tell you that now. With a lot of bikes with good torque, you're going to have to find you a sweet spot in that RPMs. You got to find your sweet spot in those RPMs, getting tongue-tied. So you can be able to lead there so you won't spin, wheeling, and all that good stuff. Once you find that sweet spot, you're doing this in the process of doing testing and tuning, right? While you're doing test and tuning, you check and see where your air pressure is in your tire, where you leaving at in your RPM, and then you start checking everything after that. That's why I was talking about your suspension and all your shocks set up and all that good stuff come into play. Now, if you're at the track, it's going to be totally different from being on the street now. So if you run certain air pressure on the track, you ain't going to run it on the street. Same vice versa. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So it's best to do a test and tune at the track, test and tune on the street. Point blank. Now, to put y'all on game to help y'all, another way to stop wheeling is your tires too. Once you set your shocks up and your tire, once you figure out your tire pressure on the surface that you're running on, you know, if you leave that wheeling, you already set, you got maybe 15 or 22 pounds of air in your tire, right? And you wheeling. I mean, the tire, the street is pretty good. It's looking pretty damn good, and you wheeling. Now, the best thing to do, add you some more air in your tire. Put some more air in your tire, because you don't have more surface. Because once it's flat, once you leave, it's flatten the tire. I ain't gonna say flatten the tire, but it's more surface. It's more tire to the surface. You know what I'm saying? So when you put some more tire in there, now air in your tire, it loses that same tire flatness of the tire. It loses. So you're gaining more. So once you leave there, you want either you go straight or you may spin. But that's what testing and tuning is all about. So I hope this helps y'all. I hope this get you out there and want to try different setups and all this good stuff. But the main thing is the suspension, tires, combination. With your weight now. You got a jacket, totally different. You gotta do the same thing. Same process. So get out there, test and tune your shit, ride your shit, and enjoy your shit. Cause you ain't spending all that money in there to make that shit back. Cause you're not making that shit back. Listen to me. You is not making that shit back. You spending all that money, $25,000, whatever you spending that money, you ain't getting it back. You ain't getting it back. It's basically for enjoyment and talking shit. Seeing who has the biggest nuts out there. Hey, basically, you're not getting your money back. I'm just saying. Hey, you just, what they call them, I'm having a brain fart right now, but you, can't think right now. But you the man in your city. When it comes to that Harley racing, they depend on you. You representing your city, your team, your city, your community, all that shit. They calling you, hey, I bet you can't outrun such and such. That's my dog, and this, that. Hey, they calling you. So, hey, you guys to always be prepared. Always be ready. Don't get ready. Always be ready. Well, hey, that coming from your man, your brother, your friend, your partner, Ace King of Battle. All motherfucking ready. So always, man, enjoy your best life. Take it like treat it right, enjoy your best life. All motherfucking ready.